It is a start of a new season after a pretty disappointing one. But for San Diegans, you get to wake up at 3 a.m. to kick off the 2024 season versus the dreaded Dodgers. It's time for some Padres talking Padres. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Padres Talking Padres, where fathers talk about their favorite sports team, the Padres. My name is Jay. With me, as last season, my Padre and a Padre fan, Jack. Jack, how you doing?
Good.
And
can't wait. I'm ready to go.
This season, we're adding another Padre to the mix. He's actually my uncle, but he's also a father. Is Uncle Jerry, or just Jerry, I guess. Hello.
Yeah, we can stick it formally with just Jerry on this one. Yeah. And I just to correct, it's 6 a.m. your time.
Yeah, your time.
My time. Yeah.
3 a.m. your time.
Yeah.
That's not as bad for us.
Yeah, okay, let's just start there. So who is waking up early or staying up late to catch this Seoul Series opener?
Not me. No. I love my Padres, but yeah, that's just too middle of the night for me, and I'll be traveling, so it'll be a little difficult on that.
Yeah.
Some fan you are.
Well, that's kind of my first point. Is I love that they're representing Seoul, along with the Dodgers, but why did you not pick some East Coast teams to do this? 6 a.m. versus 3 a.m.
Well,
or play a day game at least, so that you could, like, they had the day game last night,
and it was 8 p.m. Yeah,
8 p.m. our time. It was perfect. Yeah.
Well, it was 11 p.m. my time, which was not as perfect. So.
But still, at least you're in the ballpark of when people might be awake to watch a baseball game.
Right. Yes.
6 a.m. or 3 a.m. are both not prime.
This is not the World Series. This is not the World Series.
Right.
Jackie, are you getting up at 6 a.m. tomorrow?
Well, I normally get up at 6:30 anyway. So what's a half hour?
I'll be up early as well. I'll be watching it. I'm playing pickleball tomorrow morning early, so I'll be up anyway. So I'll at least watch the first hour or so. But it's really cool. Like Jerry said, it is. It's an honor. It's great to be selected for this thing. We have probably the most prominent Korean position player of all time on our team, so it makes perfect sense. King Kim, Hasan Kim.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about him.
And yeah, so it's exciting. I think the only bummer about this opener is the fact that the Dodgers are who we're playing against, and they spent $10 trillion to field a team of a $1 billion DH and a $350 million pitcher.
Well, it's all deferred, though. It's all deferred.
Yeah. So, what's our thoughts going into this? It just feels weird. It's opening day, but it's not the same as the other opening days. And like, do these games, like, they count, but like, do they really? Like, what are we thinking about? I don't know. If we lose both games, is it panic mode? Or if we win, like, is it just, I don't know what to make of these two games.
It's big because it's the Dodgers, but it's still only 2 games. So you can't go, oh, the sky's falling, because in baseball, you have 159 games left.
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, you can't be like last season where, I don't want to be like last season where, well, they're going to pick it up here.
Yeah.
As April went, May went, June went, July went. I go, they're going to pick it up here and get going anytime, which they did at the end, but it was
the 3rd week of August.
It was too little too late. But again, it's kind of weird because, the Dodgers and Padres are starting, 2 weeks before everybody else?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Well,
about a week.
About a week, yeah.
About a week? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, but it's a great thing for the Padres because they need to build their fan base outside of San Diego.
Yes.
They need to go into Mexico and they need to go in Korea and Japan and all the other, everywhere they can so they can get streaming rights or whatever they're going to do to make up that lost revenue they got from their TV contract.
Yeah.
It kind of has for me, it kind of has the feel of a postseason atmosphere. And while I have a lot of faith in Darvish and Musgrove, we're literally going against the Dodgers' 2 best pitchers. And with the health of the rest of their staff, we're getting their best shot in 2 games, and then they get to reload.
Yeah.
Again, it's a postseason type of atmosphere, postseason kind of feel. You still got to try and win these games. But I'm like, Jack, you lose, hopefully you could split.
Yeah.
Hopefully you don't lose 2. Hopefully you don't get embarrassed. I think that's my biggest fear as a fan is like 10-1 and 8-0 and go, oh my gosh, where are we at right now?
Yeah.
But
because that would hurt the purpose of going there is to build building a fan base. If you get crushed, they're like going, all right, I'm not going down that pie hole with the
all of a sudden the Dodger hats are on the head instead of the Padre hats. Yeah.
You're right. It's like it's an international stage, and getting embarrassed would not be great, especially like the first game you're playing the Korean national team, or was it the Twins where we only did 1 run and it was on a wild pitch?
Yeah, 1-0 and 5-4, and yet the Dodgers crushed the Korean team 11-3 last night. Yeah, not a good look.
You only need to win by 1 run.
That's it.
And we couldn't do that last year, so there we go.
Yeah, we're already 2-0 in 1-run games. So,
but a lot of it is not any different than any other series in the season. Sometimes you get the team's best pitchers, and sometimes you get 4 and 5. This just so happens to be the season opener. We're going to get their best. We're going to get our best. And quite honestly, we got to measure up somehow.
Yeah, and that's perfectly fine. But let's talk about that a little bit. Just the pitcher matchups. Game 1, it's Yu Darvish versus Tyler Glasnow. Their big pickup from the Rays. A great picture, but a bit could break at any moment. He's made of glass now.
Hasn't pitched more than 112 innings in any year.
So I do think it just on paper, Glasnow is the better pitcher than Yu Darvish these days. But
at this point.
But so that game 1 will be a tough one for them. But game 2 is Musgrove, who's still kind of coming back. He looked sharp his last outing, but that was versus the A's in spring training.
So it's a minor league team.
It's just a minor league team. But Yamamoto didn't look so hot in the spring, so maybe that's our chance. We can maybe rough up him a little bit because for $350 million, do you think the Dodgers are sweating that contract right now? Jerry, what do you think? Like, he hasn't been playing great in spring.
Well, look, anytime you have an international player come over, you don't know how that's going to translate. I always feel like an international pitcher has somewhat of an advantage because just like a hot prospect rookie, nobody has seen him yet. And when pitchers have the advantage of people not seeing them yet, it tends to go in their favor. Having said that, they've seen Musgrove a lot over the last couple of years. So there's a little bit of a decided advantage, but I'll still take Musgrove. I'll take him any day.
Yeah. Jack, what's your thoughts? Yamamoto, should the Dodgers be worried? I mean, is that our game where maybe we can rough him up?
I think the key with him is you just have to lay off his forkball. His a split finger, whatever he has.
Yeah.
And his fastball is just straight. And that's where he's been getting killed because it doesn't move. And it's just a straight. And obviously, it's hard to lay off a pitch you think is a strike.
Yeah.
And it bounces 3 feet in front of you. But I think that's the key. You have to lay off his junk and make him throw a fastball down the middle of the plate, which you can crush.
Well,
or hit it to shortstop because the Dodgers seem to have problems with the shortstop. We have 8 shortstops on our teams, but
hey Jay, I'll ask you: do you think that the Padres, because they went against Korean pitching the last couple of days, might have a little bit of an up because it's a different style of pitching over there?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more spin and less speed. Exactly.
Yeah.
And you could tell it kind of, I don't know if you watched that first game against the Korean national team, you could tell it was kind of their pitching was throwing them off. I also thought it was kind of not fair. The Korean team got to use the Korean baseballs and the MLB team had to use the MLB balls. That felt weird. But But so yeah, I think
it's the Tom Brady rule.
Basically, because you could tell, like, even was it the Korean team's first pitcher? He was like blowing into his hand with the ball as he was like, getting it gripped up or whatever. I was like, I don't know. I feel like that isn't major league standard or whatever.
I don't know. Was Gaylord Perry the first one to go over
Pretty
there?
much. Like, he was like blown into the ball. Like, where I was like, okay, I guess we're playing with a different set of rules here.
Do you have a file in his pocket a la Joe Necro? Or?
Yeah, right. What? Oh, I don't know how that got there. But yeah. So I think the pitching matchups. I do think you give the edge to Glass now in game 1, but I think I would give Musgrove the edge in game 2. Let's talk about the lineups, though. Our lineup, I think, is still a really good lineup, especially now that we officially have Jackson Merrill on the opening day roster. He has done nothing but hit. I don't know if you saw the stats where in spring training this year, out of all the top prospects, he had the lowest strikeout percentage. Like, it was like 8.8%.
He's good. He's good at making contact. So
yeah. So what's your thoughts here? It's in the old Padre days when we didn't have, superstars on the roster, the Merrill call-up would have been the news of the year, and that would have been the thing to sustain us through a season. But what's your thoughts on Jackson Merrill call-up here, and how do you think he's going to fare at the start of the season? Jack, what do you think?
I think me personally, I hope he has a great year, but I don't want to put any expectations on him, because just let him play. Let him learn. He's going to make some mistakes. I like how he spreads the ball around. I mean, we've had players like Grisham who should have done that and never did. He pulled. You got the whole field. Use the whole field. Mm-hmm. He's very talented, but he's only 20. So I don't want to say, oh, he's the savior, but I think like you said, you have Machado, you have Tatis, you have Kim, you have Bogarts, you have Cronenworth, you have other guys on this team that will take some of the pressure off him, because it's not like when Rizzo came. When I don't know, people remember when Anthony Rizzo came up. People are, oh, okay, Anthony Rizzo, and then he didn't do anything. So it's let's trade him for nothing. Yeah, and of course, he went on to. Sometimes you got to be patient with these guys, because this is the key to the Padres' future: is their farm system has to start producing. So we shall see. I hope he has a solid year. People are like, rookie of the year. It didn't have to be the rookie of the year. Just has to have a solid campaign where he's learning each step of the way.
Yeah. Jer, what's your thoughts? Merrill seems like the kind of player you would love.
Well, I like contact.
Yeah.
I do. I think I am an old guy. I like the old getting on base. I like, putting the ball in play, make the other team play some defense. Look, I'll go back to the beginning when you're talking about the lineups. I'd be an idiot if I didn't say the top 3 of the Dodgers is anything short of the best in baseball. Mm-hmm. You just can't deny it. Come on.
Sure.
Pence, Freeman, Ohtani. Come on. I mean, what you've got to hope is that our middle of the lineup and our back end of the lineup is better. I mean, you're looking at Hayward on their side and Outman and a couple other guys that, they're decent, but are they great? Are they going to get any better? We need bounce backs from a lot of our guys. I mean, there's not a guy on the team that's in that lineup right now that had their banner year last year.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a proven fact.
Yep.
They all need to be better. And I like the attitude that they're all saying it. They're not Wolby gone. Oh, Soto's gone. He was the problem. He probably came closer to having a regular year.
Yeah, he had his,
right. Mm-hmm. So I look at this team and I say, you basically have a right-handed Cease now versus a left-handed Snell. They're the same type of pitcher.
They are.
They are exactly the same, right and left. Yep. You now have Michael King sitting in 4, and I wish we could have kept Walker or Luga, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But
we tried.
I like our 4.
Yeah.
You go back to Jack's point, we got to start this farm system getting to produce, man. I mean, you got to go all the way back to, truly like a Jake Peavy, to look at the last Padre that came from the farm system that actually ended up being an all-star and being, that type of player.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually with the Padres. We've had some we traded.
Yeah, I mean, because Tatis was traded to the Padres and things like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying
traded away.
We traded away a few players.
Well,
Trey Turner, ever heard of him? No.
Yeah. But sooner or later, Preylor's got to get the ideal of what he really wants, because this is about the third or fourth rotation that I, as a fan, am confused at what he's trying to do. And I feel like this is one of the first times I'm in lockstep, for whatever it means, with what Preylor's doing. He's allowing them to get free agency, but he's now allowing his farm system to stay intact.
Yep. It's kind of finding that balance, right? It's making sure we've got the I don't know, the star veteran presence, and then there's a lot of critiques you have about Preylor, but you got to admit the dude stocks a farm system with top level talent. They may not always play with us eventually. It stinks seeing James Woods crush it with the Nationals. Also stinks seeing the Dodgers. We traded that top pitcher prospect for them for Matt Beatty. But you win some, you lose some, I guess. But
well, I think you got to sooner or later. Preylor's got to prove it, though.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had 3 winning seasons.
Yeah.
In his tenure of almost 10 years now.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
which, to be fair, for a Padre general manager, that's actually pretty good.
Well, if you want to go back to history, Jack, then that's great. But if we're truly ever going to be looked at as a significant player in Major League Baseball, we got to start putting some winning seasons together.
Yep.
It just can't just keep going with this.
Well, I think the pieces are there, and I think he was probably tempted this offseason to trade Merrill. I mean, I'm sure there were people saying,
I guess, what could he have traded him for?
There were some players out there being mentioned. I can't, off top
better
of my head,
than Merrill. I don't know.
Well, there were players that would be, because people were saying, I mean, who thought Merrill was going to break with the team this year?
I think it depended how they played, but I think Merrill, what he has done is he has shown that even though he's 20, he can kind of handle everything that's thrown at him. And you don't know till you actually are in the bigs and can do it, but just like every step of the way, even the Korea series, when, Manny Machado strikes out 4 times in the game in the first game, Merrill gets 2 hits,
I love Merrill. I'm glad they didn't trade him, but I'm sure it was tempting because he likes to, we've seen Preylor, he has no problem trading prospects.
Yeah.
For that name player. And then, sometimes, like you said, we traded for Beatty, and Beatty was like, what did he play, a month with us or whatever it was? And
that was a waste.
Yeah.
I always feel like Preylor read Jack McKeon's book too many times.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think he's part of the art of the deal kind of guy, that he always wants to be dealing. And good general managers know when to make a deal and when to step away. And I'll tell you, Jack, I think the big thing about Preylor and why he didn't make any deals is because of the luxury tax. Yeah. He couldn't make too many deals.
Yeah.
And it kind of forced his hand because he had to stay under so they could reset for next year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think he was trying to put like Suarez in trades and Cronenworth in trades to try to take off some of that salary. To add other players.
Sure.
But like I said, I'm glad he didn't, because I'm saying I love a strong bullpen, and he did. The free agents he picked up were in the bullpen, which I think helped. And again, you got, the only way you're going to compete with the Dodgers, as we saw this offseason, they were able to spend $1 billion on 2 players.
Yeah.
We can't do that. I mean, I know people are upset this offseason because they got spoiled. The last 3 years, the Padres were players in free agency. And if there wasn't a not salary cap, whatever they call it,
luxury tax, Blake Snell probably is back with the Padres.
Yeah, I think so, especially when you look at the Snell deal, and I didn't realize this at first. Out of the $32 million he's getting year one, $17 million is a signing bonus that he doesn't get till 2026. So the cap hit for 2024 is only $15 million.
Yeah.
It's like when Ohtani got his, even though it's deferred, they still have to put $47 million towards the cap. Yeah. So you can't just cheat the cap and say, "Oh, well, if you defer it all later."
Yeah. But I'm saying with the Dodgers, does it really matter if they go over? Because they're making.
But you know what though?
They're making God.
But they didn't last year though.
Exactly.
They reset.
Yes.
That's a good general manager because they reset and they knew Ohtani was coming up. And they wanted to save their money to make a bid for Ohtani.
True, but they still won the division.
No, I know they won their division, but to Jerry's point,
because they have a great farm system and they're able to.
But they don't want to. They don't want to forfeit. It's stupid just to burn money, and then they also they didn't lose the draft picks and stuff like that. Like there's so many penalties for going over. I'm totally for resetting the luxury tax, and I think it was good for Preller to have limits because he had to be more strategic, and he had to lean more on the farm system, which allowed somebody like Merrill to have this opportunity where you have Cleveland Guardians fans upset that their top prospect, who's killing it in spring training, is not going to be brought up because they're still playing the old way of trying to hold back their people. But
his time served.
Yeah, exactly. Which again, like I thought the whole they get like an extra draft pick or something if they become rookie of the year. The Orioles got the benefit from that.
Yeah, they put that in the last major league package so that there would be less time for owners to be able to hold them back and say, well, we'll keep them for. It used to be you could hold them back for a day and that would count for a whole year, which was stupid. So they've gotten rid of that. One more thing about the Dodgers before we leave, and it makes it sound like I'm a Dodger honk, but the bottom line is.
Geez, you love the Dodgers so much.
You are wearing blue.
That's green. It's green.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But look at what the Dodgers do as far as their farm system, to Jack's point. That's where it really comes from, because this is the same team that let Sager walk, that let Bellinger walk.
Yeah.
They're letting MVP type guys walk because guess what? They're not willing to pay the overprice on what they think. They might have made a mistake on Sager, quite honestly, but
they did.
I thought they did at the time, and I still stand.
And they still, shortstops has been. Trey Turner was a stopgap, I guess, but it's been a hole for them now for 2 seasons.
Like I said, they should have at least kept Turner, but
Turner didn't want to do West Coast.
He was very vocal about talking to Seidler before he passed. And said that he loved everything about Seidler and would play for the Padres if they were on the East Coast.
Yeah.
He just wanted to go to the East Coast.
Yep. He's from North Carolina. I think his wife wanted to go back to the East Coast.
I think it was his wife that wanted
which happy wife, happy life. But I thought it was really sweet when Seidler passed. Trey talked about how Seidler he loved what he was saying, and he basically pleaded to Seidler, please do not make another offer.
Don't go one more above what you already did, because I don't want to tell you no.
Which shows you the how amazing Seidler was.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we'll never know the answer to this, Jay, but what's your feeling if Seidler was still with us? Would the Padres have gone over the luxury tax again?
I think even with Seidler, they would have wanted to reset. Just strategically, it makes sense to reset, right?
I that was all. They say this was always the plan to do it. I think
they were kind of telegraphing it last year. Even Bruckner in interviews was like,
I think he would have gone. I think he would have gone over.
I'm not sure Soto leaves.
Yeah.
God, but if
Seidler's here. And even to put him over the luxury tax, I'm not sure that Soto gets traded.
I think he knew Soto wasn't going to sign an extension. Once they knew that, that's when he went after Aaron Judge. That's when he went after Trey Turner. That's when he went after Xander Bogaerts, because he knew that they weren't going to keep Soto. And because I don't know if you saw the recent article or interview with Brian Cashman, Boris has told them explicitly, no, he's going to free agency.
And Burroughs had a great offseason.
He had a great offseason. I want to talk about Snell a little bit more in a second, but so I think the fact that even the big bad Yankees don't even have a chance to sign Soto to an extension, and they know it's a one and done
until he hits the open market. Now he could come back to the Yankees,
but Yankees, I bet the Mets sign him. Like in terms of who's going to sign him for $600 million.
Because they're not going to sign Alfonso.
Well, the Dodgers are out of money.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to go to the big boys. The Padres are already ultra committed for the next 4 years. There's just no room for anybody like the $700 million contract. Boston is in a rebuild. I doubt if they're ready to go after him. I think you hit it on the nose with the Mets. I think the Mets, Alonso, is not
he's
going
leaving.
to sign with
Pete
them.
Alonso,
He's
not Alfonso.
Yeah. and he's going to leave. So yeah, they got to get some superstar power over there.
And Scherzer's money comes off the books next year, I believe, that 42 million or whatever it is. And yeah, I think the Mets go after him because it's so, to me, like, yes, would I have loved Soto to be here? Sure, but I think even Seidler knew because in the 2020 when we went to the championship series, Seidler was like, yeah, no, this man's a great young man. We're going to talk to him. We want him to be here long term. Clearly that didn't go over. So then he's like, okay, let's get Arson Judge in here for 440 million or Trey Turner or and then end up getting Xander Bogaerts. So I think he wanted like a trio, like a locked in trio. And then I also think, I don't know if you've read a lot of the articles, Soto was maybe one of the detractors to the team chemistry last year.
I've read the same thing, and I don't think there's any doubt. I think the perception is we like that you have a good eye, but you are so consumed with walking.
Yeah.
You're here to drive in runs.
Yeah.
You're not here just to get on base, and it's hard to damn somebody for wanting to get on base.
Sure.
But man, when you got guys at second and third and one out and you got Soto up there, you don't want him walking.
Yeah.
Expand your zone a little bit. And then to see him strike out on called strikes that were close because he thought he had a discerning eye better than anybody else.
Yeah.
That's frustrating as a fan to watch. It's like, man, swing the bat, dude.
Yeah. And
that was the problem with a lot of the Padres.
Well, I feel
moving
like
runners.
Just doing the basics and
plus when you talk about running, Soto has his base running IQ
terrible
is
on the
terrible.
bases.
I mean, it's just like
his running, his defense. They were detractors.
I know we're knocking him. He's a great player,
I love
a great hitter.
Great hitter. Yeah,
great hitter.
Yeah, but there's also talk that people were upset because the team would have to wait for him. He was always late for the bus. He was late for this, late for that. It was on Soto's time. Yeah. I don't know if that's true or not. That's just what was reported.
Well, even in, I think, one of the more recent AC articles mentioned how, he just was on his own program, wasn't really doing the team stuff. And so I do want to close on Schilt because I do really love everything that Schilt has been doing so far in the preseason that has me excited for this season. But I do want to talk about Snell signing with the Giants. I think we found out early this morning. Was it late last night?
Yeah.
Blake Snell to the San Francisco Giants, who I now hate. Mainly because it's Bob Melvin and Snell's. I love Snell, but I just I don't know, the Giants, they're just ticking me off. But so how pissed do you think Blake Snell is at the Boris Corporation? Walked away from $160-something million offer from the Yankees to sign a 2-year deal with the Giants with only $15 million that he's getting this season. What's your thoughts there?
I'll jump in here.
Yeah.
I think Snell does not want to go to the East Coast.
Probably.
I mean, I think that's the big deal there.
Yeah.
So look, Boros represents him.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what he gets offered, you can't tell me that Boros didn't bring that deal to Snell, and Snell had to say, no, I'll take the shorter one. I believe in myself. If I have one good year, you've given me a 1 year out that I can go out and pursue more. I'm still going to make $31 million guaranteed, and 31 even if I have a crappy year the next year.
Yeah.
I know they want to get as much as they can, but I always admire players who sign those short-term deals because that means they really feel confident that they're going to come through.
Yeah. Yeah, they're going to prove it.
I was personally happy he didn't go to the Yankees because I really like Snell. I mean, he's going to be a great broadcaster. He's got that.
I want to miss his post.
In fact, I almost think that Padres should have when Snell comes, when Giants are in town. They need to mic him up for the third inning and let him talk to Mud and Don. Yeah. But going to the Yankees, because I think any Padre fan will tell you, you love Snell, but he could be the most frustrating pitcher to watch pitch.
Oh,
Yep.
absolutely.
Guy has electric stuff, and you're like going, oh my God, just throw strikes. And he was the one guy I would really start watching his pitch count about the second inning.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not kidding. I'd be going, okay,
Yeah.
he's already at 35 pitches.
Mhm.
He's gonna have to, and I would start figuring out in my head, I go, all right, this next inning, he's gonna have a 12 pitch inning.
Yeah.
Or he's never gonna get to the fifth inning, because then you start worrying, okay, who's gonna have to come in for the bullpen? And that was the problem. He's a 5 or 6 inning pitcher. If he makes it to the 6th inning, that's gravy.
Yeah.
But he'd always have that inning where he just, and I don't think Yankee fans would have put up with it. I think they would, even if he won, they would be just tearing him apart, because Yankee fans are notorious. They will go after any player. And San Diego, I think, is more laid back and not, gonna, tear apart a player like that.
Yeah.
Even though at times you're like going, just throw strikes, trust your stuff. But I'm glad he went somewhere like San Francisco. He might get a battery chucked at him or something. But other than that, I think he'll be all right.
Well,
yeah, it would have been nice if he'd gone out of the division.
Yeah, exactly. Now we got to face him in the home opener in San Diego.
I was hoping for Houston, even though that's not an ideal pitcher's park, though. So we shall see.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys. I guess I'm easy. It's like I wish them well. It's their profession. It's a business. They're going to go where the money tells them to go. I had these, kumbaya feelings of he loves San Diego so much he'll come back for the discount. Yeah. And no, and surprising part of this to me was that Seattle didn't make enough of an overture for him to his hometown. I really thought, at the end of last season, when he, got the offer and declined it so the Padres can get the compensation pick, I thought he's going to Seattle. Yeah. I mean, unless Seattle just says, we don't want you,
And that must have been what it was. Offered him maybe that's why he turned down the Yankee deal, because he's thinking, okay, I'm going to get an offer from Seattle. Yeah. I mean, I wasn't behind the scenes, don't know, but I think everyone thought he was going to go to Seattle.
Yeah.
He did that for that Seahawks game. I think he was like the 12th man or whatever. He did the flag or something. And he even had the announcers go like, and he hopes to play for his hometown Mariners. And I was like, well, he's putting this, the full court press to try and.
I mean, he knew the Padres weren't going to come after him. I'm sure they told him right away, hey, look, we don't have the money.
Yeah.
We can't do it unless we get rid of certain players. Even getting rid of Soto wasn't enough.
Again, it goes to the luxury tax, guys. I mean, I was talking to somebody today that I've known for years, and he's been a Padre fan all his life too. And he basically said this. We've said the same thing. It's like no team in baseball can have all-stars at every position. You can't afford it, not unless you just got the luckiest farm system that you've ever run up against. And all these guys are pre-arbitration and arbitration and stuff like that. You just can't buy a whole team. Yeah, nobody can. Not even the Yankees.
Not since free agency.
Yeah, you just can't do it. So you have to pick your places of where you can bring in young guys, where you can go get somebody that can fill in. Padres, Profar. Is he an all-star? No. Hopefully he has a 250 season and hits a few runs, keeps the energy going on the clubhouse. I'm okay with that. Bring in Tommy Pham for that matter.
Hey, we're circling it. We're working on a deal, apparently.
Get some energy in there. Get the Merrills going. Campusano. You got to find a way to get these guys.
Campusano just has to stay healthy. I think he'll be.
Oh, he's really is one of my favorite players now.
He's got tons of talent. It's just health. This has been his issue.
Well, and the bottom line is they keep bringing in these veterans every year, a la Gary Sanchez. And I don't think it was because Campusano was struggling. It was because Ashby was terrible. Yeah. So, or Nola, excuse me.
Nola.
He was terrible. And it was awful. You had him hitting 150. You had Grisham hitting 150.
150. I think he was hitting 110.
Yeah, guys were scuffling all over the place. And you bring in Sanchez, and it looked like he was just going to bring the season all up on his own. Then he ran out of gas, which is to be understood. But
he broke his hand, which that sucked. Because it was a fun story. He's with the Brewers. Hopefully he does well with the Brewers this year. But let's talk about the Mike Schilt effect. I will say, Jerry, you bear a resemblance to Mike Schilt. You kind of have Mike Schilt features, I think.
I guess I could see
Just
that.
put some glasses on, maybe, and
Well, I'm not wearing my glasses right now because I got too many things on my head. But no, I got to tell you,
too heavy.
Despite the love there was during the Kumbaya season of 2 years ago, I'm not a Melvin fan. I dislike the guy or anything. I just don't like his managing style.
Yeah.
I want a little fire. And I tell you what impressed me more than anything in the offseason is Mike Schilt and he's been with the organization for 2 years.
Yeah.
He went to every player at their home.
Yeah.
Traveled abroad and went and talked to them. And that's why like the Xander Bogaerts move to second base was a lot easier because he said, he got to know these guys like he brings the team chemistry thing in. Yeah. Why St. Louis ever got rid of him, I don't know.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but supposedly there was an organizational rift or whatever, which is unusual for St. Louis. Your grandpa and your dad's favorite team for a long time. An organization to be admired, but for whatever reason, I let him go. And man, to the benefit of the Padres, I am looking forward to a full season of Mike Schilt.
Yeah, same.
I'm surprised it took I was surprised it took so long for them to pick him.
It's fun. Like, I wonder if maybe it was a Seidler illness thing that maybe made them drag their feet a little bit. Because if you read, I think it was a Bryce Miller in the Union Tribune. There's been a couple articles in this week leading up to the season, but kind of just talking about how he was pretty much the consensus pick to be the manager. Just however long it took, it was however long it took. But yeah, I agree. I think the traveling to the players' homes to have those conversations. Just the communication out of all of the players. And I think there was a Bryce Miller article yesterday about, or it was the 18th, about how everyone put everything at Manny's feet and the team kind of saying, no, we all need to step up. All of us people that like Jake Cronenworth, Musgrove, like all these people are saying we all need to shoulder this burden. It's not just Manny.
Right.
And
Manny was hurt last season a lot. It was hurt last season. So.
He's been hurt for the last couple of seasons. He's been dealing with that shoulder for a long, long time. But I tell you what, I don't know about you guys, but I started hearing other names, and I'm like, don't go down the Tingler route. Don't go down the Green route again. Can we get an established manager? Because the one thing I did appreciate about Melvin is, okay, at least we got somebody who's managed before. Yeah. At a certain point, I've always wanted to get a younger manager, but unfortunately, Preller, and I will blame him in most part, he let Schumacher walk. Heck, he let Dave Roberts walk.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Well, I'm not a big Dave Roberts fan anymore. I just don't like the way he smirks, I guess. And he's a Dodger. But when they let him go, they let Schumacher go.
Yeah.
And Schumacher, to me,
Schumacher would have been a good.
He came up with a St. Louis organization that knew he's, got the Marlins turned around.
Yeah.
I would have been okay with that.
Don and Mudd used to interview him.
Yeah.
During the games, I said, this guy knows his baseball.
Yeah.
Roberts to me is a good manager with great talent.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't think some of his. I mean, we can thank him for helping us get to the next round of the playoffs because of his mismanagement. Yeah. But going back to Melvin, what used to bother me about Melvin so much is he's station to station. Yeah. Last year they were losing 1-run game after 1-run game. They were losing extra. What was it? Well, they had one
like
win
12 in a row or something like that.
1-13 extra inning games, and you would have Tatis and Kim at first base, and I'm like going, send him, send them, and they would still be standing at first base after it was over. I go,
or how many double plays did we run into?
I go, stealing bases, not only does it help you get in better position to score, it messes with the pitcher's head.
Yeah,
because now he's got to look over and think, how many times does Mookie Betts get on first base against us and steal second base right away?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simple baseball. I mean, but it just wasn't his style.
I know it's easy to criticize him now, just how bad last season was.
To be honest with you, I did it last season. So but there was just something just very. I hate to use the term, but like flaccid. Just there was no. There's just. I think he was in it over his head. Like he was fine managing a no expectations A's team for however long and working with not star players and getting the best out of them.
but he did not know how to handle a clubhouse full of egos and how to execute. And he even admitted as such that he didn't know how to.
And that's your key to great. Like you look at a Joe Torre when he goes to New York, he's got all those egos, but he was able to rein them in and win championships. It's one thing. We'll see what happens with Dave. Well, Dave Roberts has managed egos before, but it's just it's not always easy having a star roster if you can't get them all playing on the same field. Because people say baseball is not a team sport. It is a team sport. Everybody has to be on the same page, or you're not going to win.
Who says baseball is not a team sport?
I see people all the time going, baseball's not a team sport. I go,
it's more than basketball, like where you could just have.
Yeah, that's. I think there's just different styles of managing, and quite honestly, throughout the history of baseball, there is a definition of a manager that handles veterans well, and there's a manager that handles young guys well.
Yeah.
And very rarely do they cross paths. There's just not, those kind of guys don't come along very often.
Yeah.
Because when you get to shape and mold, I mean, think about your own jobs, when you get a chance to shape and mold. I look back at my career, shaping and molding was actually easier than bringing in people who were already set in their ways and saying, okay, but that might be the way you did it over there, but I want you to do it this way. That's a lot harder sometimes.
Yeah.
You get those young, impressionable people, like they're scurrying for a job. They're looking for a contract. That drives baseball players. And just ask Blake Snell, because his 2 Cy Young years were the years before his free agent started up. You know?
That's also another thing.
I think I heard him
because these 2 Cy Young years were great. Everything in between was just
yeah,
Mid,
not even in.
Yeah, and but I think Jerry make a perfect point. Yeah, it's easier or it just depends on the style of leader you are. But I think what Schilt has shown is that he has seemingly, and again, no games have been played or official games have been played yet. But he, at least from all the interviews, everyone has been saying, and what we're seeing so far, he does seem to have the team functioning as a more cohesive unit.
Well, players are saying the right things.
Exactly. It's a unified front in the communication, which is kind of the step one.
Yeah. Because we said, go ahead.
I was going to say, and you hope that continues, because unfortunately, you don't find out about team chemistry until you have a losing streak.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, you don't want to have one.
Yeah.
I think back to the '84 Padres, and Gary Templeton said the biggest thing for us is to never lose more than 3 games in a row. And that team did not lose more than 3 games in a row until they had clinched way back, way up in September.
Yep.
And so team chemistry is easy. It's easier if you're winning, because nobody's talking about, oh, I should be playing for him. Oh, I should be pitching instead of this guy. No, you're winning. You look like a fool if you're going to the manager and saying, hey, I should be playing for, where Jack's playing.
Yeah.
Lead the team in hitting. What's your problem, man?
Jack, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I kind of forgot what I was going to say, but like you see teams like Arizona who benefited from young players who succeeded, that built, because one thing that helped the Padres when Fernando Tatis first came to the team, he was a spark plug. He was energetic. The fans got behind it. And I think, we need to see more of that from Fernando Tatis this year. He's got to be that old spark plug again, but also a guy like Merrill, who's young. You want to see that energy, because I think that also lifts the veterans. Like, oh, yeah. I mean, we all forget it's still a kid's game.
Yeah.
And who's ever played sports, when you're kind of getting the rut, someone has to be the spark. Someone has to be that guy to go rah, rah, rah. And people say, well, Manny Machado should be that guy. And
he's not that guy. He's a lot of things, but he's not that guy.
That's why, Jack, that's why Profar's back.
Yeah.
He's that kind of guy. He's
that kind of guy.
He's not even remotely close to the best player on the team.
Yeah.
But that guy always had a spark in him.
Yeah.
I was so happy to hear him come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you're right.
Kim is that guy.
You need somebody to be that, because not everybody's that way.
Yeah.
Machado is kind of the silent leader. I mean, he'll get in there, but a little criticism of Machado when he's not doing well and he's striking out, and you kind of get the visual he's moping.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that to a certain extent, But if it carries into the clubhouse,
Yeah.
that's a whole nother story. And we'll never know that because we don't go into the clubhouse and we can only pretend to what happens in there. But obviously, they lack that chemistry. And whether it was the Soto thing or whether it was, the injuries, the coming back from the suspension. And I'll tell you right now, 2024, I don't want to hear any excuses.
Yeah.
We're healthy. I tell you what, you go to a lot of teams in baseball right now where two-fifths of their rotation are not starting the season.
Yeah. Yankees.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Blue
teams
Jays
out
just
there.
lost
Giants,
a reliever. Yeah.
The Giants are that way, and you have a lot of questionable, teams out there. By my count and by my knowledge, the Padres are healthy going into this year. They had a great spring training.
Knocking all the wood.
Yeah, knocking all the wood. But they had a great
How's
spring
Bogart's
training,
wrist? That's a key.
Yeah, Bogarts. I mean, it's kind of true. Like Bogarts was doing great, and he hit in the wrist. Machado broke his wrist, and then his tennis elbow flared up.
Cronenworth broke his hand.
Broke his hand.
I still would like to see Bogarts scoot over one more spot and put Cron and Kim together because that's your best double play combination in baseball.
You read my mind. It's like you already had the tough conversation. Yeah. Why didn't you just say go all the way over to first and get it over with?
Because I was a big
Cronenworth is the best second baseman we've got.
Yeah.
And he's doing an admirable job at first, but you've got two guys with 1 year and no years playing positions that you could have a guy that's been playing for 5 or 6 years and a first year. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Cronenworth could be a Gold Glove first baseman. I mean, he's no Hosmer, but he could be a Gold Glove first baseman. But I was very big on pushing before everyone was even talking about. I said Fernando Tatis should go in the outfield. He should be in the outfield. Yeah. There's less stress on him. You're not shortstop. You're involved in every play. Yeah, every play. I said he'll be a star in the outfield. People say he's never played. I go, it doesn't matter. He's athletic. He's talented, and he turned out to be what he won a
Platinum baby.
I mean,
you seen with the platinum glove make that great catch in the first game? I was like, oh, it's so shiny. It's like,
I was surprised though going to Jake Cronenworth. I'm not. I'm a little into the stats. I'm not like a stat digger, right? Mm-hmm. But I was surprised to see that Cronenworth was basically a 0 on defensive WAR, which kind of surprised me. Basically, It's like 0.
Yeah, it wasn't a great defensive season at first base for him.
Now, I don't know about you. I watched an awful lot of games, and I didn't see any errors. I didn't see, he's got
WAR is a fickle thing, though.
I know.
Yeah,
that's WAR. That's like
I probably watched all but like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
and he made plays that other first basemen just don't make.
I mean, his range is exceptional. So I was surprised by that. That is a shock. But to me, I said in a tweet about a month ago, I said someone needs to sit Cronenworth down and have him watch film of Keith Hernandez. I go, he could be Keith Hernandez at batting. We don't need him to hit home runs. Yeah. I think he went to first base last year and said, okay, I need to be, because first base is a power position.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I just need to, and he started.
But he can only hit if he's pulling for his dear life to the
pulling for the Crone zone when
to the porch
before he got hurt. He started going the opposite way a little bit.
He's left-handed. Just go the opposite way.
And he started picking up a little bit. So if he could just be like Keith Hernandez, Gold Glove defense, and hitting 300, like you said, just getting on base, driving. I mean, 2 years ago he had 88 RBIs.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
I tell you what, I'm perfectly honest. That was my biggest miss from last year. I predicted to my son Aaron that Cronenworth would lead the Padres in RBIs because he was going to be hitting behind Tatis, Machado, and Soto. I was like, if he doesn't have like 100 and 120 RBIs, I'll be shocked. Well, I'm shocked, because he could have had an opportunity to just clean house back there because you knew they were going to want Machado to get to him.
I think playing first base, I think it messed him up.
It could be. Yeah. And, look, the Padres, unfortunately, are just like any other team. They have a long history of guys, Will Myers, who hit a couple of home runs, and all of a sudden, all they do is pull. And then all of a sudden,
Damian Jackson.
10 games later, they figure out that, hey, if I go to right center, or left center, I'm actually a better hitter.
Yeah.
Myers still need to move closer to the plate, though, too.
I hope Myers is okay. I love Myers.
I love the guy, but he's having a kid soon.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations.
And
Okay.
and he's out of baseball as far as I know.
Yes, but he's doing okay. He still has like I think he got like a $20 million
I
like
don't know.
from us
A
last.
lot,
Okay.
lot of money.
Let's come here to our final thoughts. This is our episode before the season officially. So let's do our season predictions. What do you think our win-loss total will be for the year? And do we end in the playoffs or not in the playoffs? Jerry, I'll give you the floor. What do you think? Final record and playoffs, no playoffs.
I think it's going to be a tough road. I'm trying to be optimistic because I think they have a really good team. But I'll say on an overall, they're playing in, minus the Rockies, they're playing in the most tough division in baseball.
It's a more balanced schedule, though, not as heavy in the West.
I get that, but the bottom line is those other teams are going to win a lot of games too. Mm-hmm. I think it's obvious the Dodgers, if they don't win 100, I don't know what they got to do.
Yeah,
doesn't mean anything in the playoffs, but if they don't win 100 again, I'll be shocked. I really will.
Yep.
But I think the Padres. I think the team I'm more worried about the Padres not making the playoffs is the Giants.
Okay, you think Giants are ahead of them? Okay,
I think it's a close call. I think people forget that Arizona only won 2 more games than the Padres.
Exactly.
They kind of did what the Padres did the year before. Where
thanks, Josh Hader.
Well, no, can I just say? There was they did it. Remember that game against the Diamondbacks where it was the 9th inning, maybe the bases were loose. There was 2 people on base. Soto's up to bat, and he hits a drive to left field, and it comes that short of becoming a home run. And they would have won the game if it was a home run. Yeah. If that ball would have just went a few more inches into the left field bleachers, we would have been in the playoffs, not the Diamondbacks, because that's a 2-game swing. We would have won, they would have lost. And so we would have been in the playoffs.
You're saying sports is a game of inches.
It's one of those crazy baseball things. That one hit, and it just this short of going out. If it would have went out, we would have been in the playoffs.
I remember that game because they were ready to jump.
Yeah, all the Padres. I was like, "Whoa!" And
it was left center. It was left center field, and it just died.
Yep,
it just died. Thinking, come on, fans.
I think the Padres can make the playoffs. I think 3 teams from the West will make the playoffs. That's my prediction. And I think the Padres will be one of them.
Okay.
But I think it's going to be really, really tight. I think they win somewhere.
We froze. Hopefully we get him back. He's mid. What do you think his guess is going to be? I'm going to say he's going to say 86 wins.
I'm saying 84.
You think he's going to say 84? Okay.
I think he's going to say 84 wins.
His mouth does look like he's okay. We lost you. You froze.
I said somewhere between 87, 88 wins.
Oh.
Didn't look like you were saying 88.
But again, a lot of it comes down. You're right about the schedule. I'm not sure if I'm a fan yet. It's only the second year. Yeah. I like the idea of playing everybody because I didn't like the fact that we always played the West and you know you only play 4 games over here.
Yeah.
I actually like the more balanced schedule. I think they should have balanced it a little bit more towards you paid the National League a little bit more than you do the American League.
Sure.
But but yeah, I think 3 teams will make the playoffs, and I think the Padres are one of them at about 87, 88 wins.
Okay. Pick just one, 87 or 88. What's your final?
Okay, I'll go 88. Yeah.
88.
I'll be optimistic. Yeah.
Balloons are there because I did a peace sign. All right, Jack. Okay, playoffs, yay or nay, and then what's your final win?
I look at the Padres. They got great starting pitching, and their bullpen is on paper is rock solid. I mean, it's a great bullpen. The key is, can they win the close games this year that they didn't win last year? I think they will, and it all comes down to health. Are the Padres going to stay healthy all year?
Yeah.
Are they going to lose any key players? Will they have players from the farm system because they're not going to have the money to go out and trade for a big name player to bring them in, right? So it's going to have to rely on their farm system and health. I think what did Jerry say? 87?
He said 87.
87?
Right? 87.
I said 88.
Oh, sorry. 88. 88 is his final answer. 88. Yeah.
I'll go 87. I think they make the playoffs, and they could do damage in the playoffs because, again, they have pitching, and that's the key to any long playoff run. But if you still need the big 3 that they have, Bogarts, Tatis, and Machado have to have big clutch years, and then whatever else you get from everybody else is gravy.
Yep. No, I agree. Like all those out of the big four, only one played to their averages,
Right.
and that was Soto.
Because that's what we were so excited about last year. Wow, look at our top four.
Yeah,
we're better than the Dodgers.
Yeah,
and it didn't.
And you could argue Soto's high OPS was mainly because he walked a lot. He didn't really come on strong till the end of the season when it was pretty much over anyway.
Yeah.
So
how about you, Jay?
Okay, so let's see.
I get no balloons.
You have your reactions. 2 thumbs up, I believe, is confetti. Yeah, there we confetti. And we do the rock symbols. I got concert lasers. There we go.
Oh wow.
All right,
had the concert lasers.
All I can do is.
But so once we added Cease, I think our playoffs odds went from like 36% to 41%. So I think our pitching staff is looking solid. To your point, our bullpen is, I think, better because we actually may have people that want to come out maybe for at bats.
Maybe I can pitch 3 days in a row.
Maybe I can pitch 3 days in a row. I don't know.
Even on 20 pitches, I don't know.
Hater, I will always be grateful and have that, striking out the Dodgers big 3 right in a row. Yeah. I'll always be thankful for that. But
I loved it. I loved it in 2022. But last year, again, if he just pitches,
he's another one that costs the playoffs.
If he pitches once or twice,
that's okay. But I think 88 is that's a pipe dream. I think 86, that's I believe what the Diamondbacks got to get in, or maybe they're 85. So I say 86 wins, and they are the 3rd and last wild card entry. So we're all saying they go to the playoffs.
I mean, pretty similar with 86, 87, 88. So,
but mine's better. So I'm just gonna.
Well, I tell you, I think the West is so good. They may beat each other up, and that's why I stated 88, because I think if the Padres got to play more outside of the division, or any of them got to play the Central and the East a little bit more, I'd be going probably 90, 92. Yeah.
God, if we were in the Central, God, how easy would it be?
I mean, you're playing the Dodgers 12 times.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, probably looking at 5-7, 4-8. It's just, it's a monster team we have to slay.
Did Buehler come back? Is he?
Well,
he may come back this season, I believe.
Because
I know we're talking Padres, but that's what I was talking at the very beginning about the Dodgers. We're getting their best 2. You tell me what they're giving you after that, because their names are no bigger names than Michael King, or Brito, or I mean, we got 3 studs. They've got one proven guy who's only pitched 112 innings one time.
Yeah.
And a guy coming over that we don't know anything about.
He has nice hair, though.
We've had Darvish, who's been in the Cy Young running many times.
Yep.
Musgrove, who is he's going to have another big year to be considered that ace kind of guy.
Yeah.
And Dylan Cease, who was second in Cy Young just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So you tell me who's got the better depth and the better pitching. Their offense, though, I mean, it reminds me, I don't know about you guys, but it reminds me of last year what the people were saying about the Padres.
It does. And we know how that turned out.
They don't need to have good pitching. If they hit like we think they're going to hit, they're going to break records and runs scored.
But that's how the Dodgers won last season.
Well, that's how they're going to win this season.
They scored a lot because their pitching was not that good. I mean,
for
the Dodgers, because you're used to the Dodgers having those shutdown guys and timely hitting, but they just.
But you know what, though? The Dodgers,
and if Buehler comes back, he is that guy, because that guy's a beast, But arm trouble's arm trouble, man. Yeah.
There's something to
his tight pants.
There's just that people they say it, but they don't quite say it. Something about regular season Dodgers and how they approach hitting, it maybe isn't necessarily on the up and up, but it doesn't translate to the playoffs. We know that's for sure. But anyway, because it always just seems like the Dodgers know what's coming on every damn pitch, and it's really frustrating to watch the Dodgers in the regular season. But anyway, that should do it for this first episode of the 2024 season for Padres, Talking Padres. We're changing it up this year. Last year, we kind of did when something happened. It was kind of loosey-goosey. But this season, we're going to Tuesdays, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific time. So if you're watching this in the replay, come hang out with us Tuesday nights, 9:30 Eastern, 6.
Join us in the chat.
Join us in the chat. Come hang out.
That's what I did last year.
Yeah. And now you're on the show. So who knows? Maybe whoever's in the chat this year could be on the show.
But you have to be a Padre.
You have to be a father. Yes, that is the one rule we have. One requirement.
That could be a deal breaker for a lot of people. Ain't worth it.
Aaron's not going to want to hear that.
All right, that'll do it. Well, good luck to the Padres and to those that are getting up early. We'll see you next Tuesday. Hopefully happy because we beat up the Dodgers. Until then, hasta luego and goodbye.